don't you mind your own f***ing business, pal?
Animaniacs, those are the facts.
Yes, you forgot Max Keeble's big move. Here's why. Max Keeble's Big Move was a Disney live-action film that was released in 2001 and directed by Tim Hill, who was a writer for SpongeBob SquarePants and directed films such as Alvin and the Chipmunks and Garfield: A Tale of Two Kitties. Oh, no! In other words, this film could really go either way. The film follows a kid named Max, played by Alex D. Linz, who ends up on a bunch of people's shit list, which the star of the film dives right into as the film opens with Max doing his paper route while being chased by a psycho ice cream man, played by Jamie Kennedy, for seemingly no reason. Seriously, this guy is downright insane and nearly severely harms several people just to hunt this kid down. Oh, he also shoots Tony Hawk with an ice cream gun, cause, you know, it's an early 2000s movie. So they had Tony Hawk make a cameo, who was like the king of the early 2000s. Have I mentioned how disgustingly early 2000s this film is? Well, this won't be the last time I say that, I will tell you that much. So it turns out that this was all a dream. Meaning the ice cream guy is a character that totally isn't real and won't come back later in the movie, right? Right? We are then introduced to Max's mom, Lily Keeble, played by Nora Dunn, who has a weird obsession with her house being hers.
It's my house. My kitchen. Mine.
And if you dare take it from me, I'll break your f***ing kneecaps! We are also introduced to his dad, Don Keeble, played by Robert Carradine, who is a big kiss-ass who lets his boss completely control everything he does, including wearing several stupid costumes to advertise various businesses. And if he looks familiar, then maybe because he also played the dad in Lizzie McGuire. The film then cuts to Max's first day of junior high, where Max gets on the bus and introduces us to his two best friends, Ro, played by Josh Peck, who is basically just your typical, it's funny because he's fat character.
Sweet a can.
See what I mean? And Megan, played by Xena Gray, who is your typical band geek, and that's about it. I wouldn't say these characters are bad, and the actors do a good job playing their roles, but they're not anything special and come off as stereotypes to a degree, Josh's character especially. But it's an early 2000s Disney live-action movie, so it's pretty expected. The kids arrive at the school where one of the funniest moments in the film happens. Seriously, this kid holding his mom's car for dear life is still funny as shit to me. We are then introduced to my least favorite character, Principal Gindrake, played by Larry Miller. This guy is as unlikable as it gets. He is such a slimy prick who stops at nothing to have a big stadium built for the high school football team, which apparently is full of people in their 20s. This includes using 97% of the school's yearly budget and destroying an animal sanctuary. Seriously, there's a scene in the movie where Max goes to an animal sanctuary that is right beside the school, and the head guy tells him that they're shutting down because someone bought the land and wants him out of there, and then later in the movie we find out that it's the principal that's responsible for that. Seriously, this guy is a dick. It is also at the school where you're introduced to Max's other boys, those being Troy McGinty, played by Noel Fisher. Troy is your stereotypical and cliche 90s high school boy, which means even in 2001, this was starting to become pretty cliche. I mean, let's just go down the list. Goofy hair.
Max Keeble.
Troy! Troy McGinty, how are you?
First victim of the year there, buddy.
Check. Leather jacket. Check. Cringe dialogue to make the bully sound like a tough guy.
How about that? Okay, no, I won't do that anymore. I promise. Oh, I lied.
Check, 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 motherfucker. The only somewhat unique thing about this character is that he puts the name of whoever his victim of the day is on his shirt and reveals it to all the other students.
And he's devised his own special way of letting the world know who he's coming after.
Max Keeble.
You'd think this would make the character more intimidating, but honestly, he's not intimidating in the slightest. Much like every bully, though, he does have a weakness, or at least a reason he became a bully. In this case, he was traumatized as a kid when he saw a kid show character named McGoogles, a frog who is basically a Barney knockoff. But I won't lie, this frog does look kinda creepy, especially in one scene later in the movie, but we will get to that later. The other bully character is Dobbs, played by Orlando Brown. Dobbs is this kid who made it big in the stock market. So big, in fact, that he became a millionaire and then lost it all. In other words, he's basically the 2000s version of a crypto bro.
Oh my god! Oh my god! You are so f***ing funny!
Now that he is broke, he tries everything he can to get rich again. This includes stealing kids' lunch money and charging kids to use the bathroom, all of which he gets away with as he has an in with the school staff, as it's indicated by this scene where he gives one of the teachers investment advice while stealing Max's lunch money.
What's going on here?
He's taking Max's lunch money.
Is this true, Mr. Dobbs?
No, I'm just spreading some investment wisdom. Speaking of which, how did biomorph systems work out for you?
Best money I ever spent. By the way, what do you think of Handspring?
Handspring. It's moving today. I'd say bye.
Thanks.
Right.
Aside from the boys, we are introduced to some of the school's teachers, such as the science teacher Miss Dingman, played by Amber Valita. This teacher is one of those teachers that all male students have a crush on because, well, she's attractive, but it's also the way she talks to the students. She tells kids about pheromones and calls them nature's dating service. But just watch this scene where she explains how it works, and tell me this doesn't sound really odd the way she's talking to these children.
Pheromones. Nature's dating service. Odorless. Colorless. It's how many species attract mates.
I hate bringing this sort of point up, as it's a point that has been kind of exhausted, but if the teacher was male and was talking in this sort of sexual way to the students, it would come off far creepier and the teacher would probably not have a job. Granted, this is just a kids movie, so I'm probably thinking way too much into it. The only other character worth mentioning is the music teacher, Mr. Coles, not because of the character himself, but because he is played by Dennis Haskins, aka...
It's me! Principal Belding!
Yes, Principal Belding from Saved by the Bell is in this movie. I totally forgot about this until I rewatched the movie for the video, and it blew my balls off. The only other character we are introduced to on this day is the school's mean girl and Max's main crush, Jenna, played by Brooke Ann Smith. Technically, we're introduced to her at the start of the film during Max's dream sequence, but her next appearance is at the school. The character is your cliche mean girl blonde that seems to be in so many different kids shows and movies in the 2000s. Like seriously, it's gotta be one of the most overdone cliches in film history, and Jenna adds absolutely nothing new to this sort of character. The only thing about her worth mentioning is her music cue that plays when she appears on screen, sometimes. Yup, doesn't get more early 2000s than some Britney Spears, man. But yeah, nothing interesting about this character whatsoever. Anyways, Max's first day of middle school is as bad as it gets, with not only pissing off all the bullies, but straight up getting on the principal's bad side for being late due to Troy pushing him in mud, drenching him in wood chips, and tossing him in one of the nastiest dumpsters I've ever seen. Seriously, what is wrong with this school? Also, talk about a bad day, man. And a day ends in the way you would expect, given the title of the movie.
We're moving?
Yes, as you would guess, Max's dad surprises him with the news that they're moving to Chicago. Why are they moving? Well, because his dad's boss said so. As previously mentioned, Max's dad is an absolute kiss-ass that does every little thing his boss asks of him, no matter how extreme it is. I'm not saying never do what your boss says. I mean, that's just part of working a 9 to 5, but if your boss ever tells you to do anything that's borderline dangerous, or straight up just not on your job description, then it's time to stand up for yourself. Otherwise, your boss may just take advantage of you. Believe me, I've worked a 9 to 5, I've been there.
The next day.
We cut to the next day where Max is sitting in a junkyard with Megan and Robe and tells him that he's moving to Chicago. Not gonna lie, I kinda like this scene. Robe tells Max that Chicago is crazy with carjackings, and judging by all the gun violence that happens in that city, I can't say he's wrong. And Megan says he should emancipate himself. But Max tells him, thanks for trying guys, but I got screwed on this one, and you do see the look on the friends' faces that this sucks. And I'm sure that is relatable to anyone who moved around a lot as a kid, or had one of their best friends move away. It's a nice scene, but I wish they would have focused a little longer on it, and made it a little more heartfelt, as they quickly fade to black and then fade to Max delivering his newspapers. Could have made this scene more heartfelt, but you know, it is what it is.
It is what it is. It is what it is.
This newspaper scene reveals that the evil ice cream man from the dream sequence is in fact real, and just as insane as he is in the dream. But we do get a reason for why he hates Max so much. Apparently Max bought a snow cone from him when he was a little kid and had a cockroach in it, so his mom called the health department, and in the movie's words, they nailed him, and he has been trying to nail Max ever since. Probably could have worded that better, movie, or I could just get my head out of the gutter.
The next day.
The next day at school, things aren't much better than the first day, as Max has another encounter in the hall with Jindrake, where we learn he is responsible for the animal sanctuary being shut down, as I previously mentioned. Meanwhile, Troy reveals who his next victim is, which is Robe, and he locks him in a glass case in the middle of the hallway as a bunch of kids watch and laugh. Okay, this must be one corrupt school, man. How's there one staff member or teacher putting a stop to this? Also, Robe pukes. That's a thing.
What a waste of a perfectly good chili.
Max has a realization this day though after a teacher loses her shit on him and makes him write an essay for showing up late to class soaking wet after Troy gives him a swirly. The realization is that he can do whatever he wants as he is leaving Friday anyway, so he not only drives the teacher nuts and now has to write a 12,000 word essay instead of the original 2,000 words, but he decides he wants to get back at everyone who has screwed with him in this school. And just like any other movie like this, he ropes his best friends into it who agree to help him as long as they can have a going away party before he leaves. They come up with a plan which they start executing the next day. First thing they do is steal the ice cream truck's coil that is used to keep the ice cream guy's ice cream cold, and Dobbs' handheld planner, which is his most sacred item. What they use it for later is kind of smart, but we'll get to that soon. The bully Troy McGinty's torture is up next, and honestly, torture may not be as much of an exaggeration as you think. Max and his friends use Troy's fear of McGoogles to their advantage, starting with having his song play whenever Troy opens his locker. But it's what Max does after that is kind of insane. Max steals a McGoogle costume that his dad wore in the birthday party scene earlier in the film and wears it to scare Troy. Now that may not sound that bad, but just watch the scene.
McGoogles is me name. I like a swimming boat. It's time to play a game with your favorite island folk.
No.
One touch the top. Two, three,
Not
your
you.
nose.
You're not even real. Get away from me.
Holy crap, what do they do to the guy? Like seriously, the constant screaming from Troy, Max walking closer and closer in the McGoogles costume, and the fade to black at the end is actually a little creepy. Like, just watch a scene again with the slight edit that I made, and tell you this doesn't seem like a horror movie.
McGoogles is me name. I like a swimming boat. It's time to play a game with your favorite island folk.
No.
One touch the top. Two, three,
Not
your
you.
nose.
You're not even real. Get away from me.
See what I mean? Also, whatever happened after the fade to black messed Troy up so much that he was found shaking on the floor of the gymnasium and has to go to therapy. My god, I guess you could say that's karma, but it seems a little harsh. Moving forward now though, we go back to the evil ice cream man and Dobbs. Max and his friends stole the coil and planner to use on the pin the ice cream man and Dobbs against each other. Roy gives the ice cream man a message that says if he wants his coil, he has to go to the junkyard, and then hands him Dobbs' handheld. And Dobbs receives a similar message over an instant messenger like AOL or MSN for his handheld, and has a coil left on his front porch. So both meet in the junkyard where chaos ensues. While the two are arguing, Max gets control of the junkyard crane and uses it to lift up the ice cream dick's ice cream truck and pours all the melted ice cream all over both of them, nearly drowning them. Honestly, I don't know what to say. It's unrealistic as shit, but it's also entertaining. And then comes what they do to Gindrake. This starts with Max and his friends breaking into the school at night to pour pheromones into his mouth spray. The same pheromones from earlier in the film. This causes animals to lunge at him anytime he sprays it, which comes in handy when the superintendent comes to the school to visit, as this causes Gindrake to be attacked by a squirrel and a monkey in the cafeteria. Yeah, this movie is something, man. Also, Max starts a massive food fight that basically destroys the whole room, including a banner that Gindrake had made in the superintendent's honor, as he was on the football team back in the day. So with all of that done, it is time for Max to go to his going away party. But, and you're not going to believe this, the dumb popular girl he has a crush on wants him to ditch those losers and hang out with her and her friends, and in cliche fashion, he does just that. Cause f those friends, their party is lame anyways. So he parties it up with the girl and chugs some milkshakes. And again, you won't believe this, the two friends show up and are pissed Max ditched them for the girl. Seriously, this film is so full of cliches, it's kind of annoying at this point. Max also finds out that Megan likes him.
She likes you. She really likes you.
Yeah, Max, you're a dick. So Max goes home feeling like crap and finds out some news from his dad, which is that they're no longer moving because he finally grew some balls and quit his job to start his own company. This basically screws Max over, and things only get worse as the next day he shows up to school and sees that his friends are now getting screwed over for all the stuff he did, and their lives are now basically ruined, with Troy going after Robe and Dobbs going after Megan. So Max decided after talking with the janitor that he needs to fix this. So he uses the principal's video intercom system, a system that is frequently used for jokes throughout the movie, to not only apologize to his friends, but tells Troy and Dobbs that he is the one they want, so meet him outside after school to settle this beef. However, this is interrupted by Gindrake, who says he is going to unleash the ultimate punishment for Max, and Max says one of the biggest oxymorons I've ever heard in my entire life.
You've acted like a criminal, so I'm going to treat you like a criminal.
I'm not a criminal.
Oh really, you're not a criminal? Let's get out this list again. Let's see. You committed multiple counts of theft, breaking an entry, trespassing, destruction of property. You nearly drowned 2 people in ice cream, so you can probably add 2 attempted murder charges as well. So yeah, I'd say you're definitely a criminal. They should lock you up and throw away the key for Christ's sake. But anyways, this starts the end of the movie with Ginger revealing all the stuff he's done, which gets broadcast to the whole school thanks to Max hitting a button on the camera, and Ginger locks Max in the janitor's closet so we can get the demolition of the animal sanctuary started. Max manages to break out though and faces Troy and Dobbs, who doesn't get to do much, as literally the entire school teams up with Max to stop these bullies once and for all and throw them in the dumpster. But in once again cliche fashion, Max stops everyone at the last second and gives the old "if we do this we'll be just as bad as these guys" speech. But they get tossed in the dumpster anyway, so f it. Ginger goes to check on Max, but he gets locked in the janitor's closet by the janitor. He gets out pretty quickly though and gets in the construction truck, almost runs over tons of kids, and smashes his way into the animal sanctuary, where by the way, the animals are still at. Seriously, what is wrong with this guy?
Boy, I'm really starting to dislike the Drake.
Hate the Drake!
So Max confronts him on an ostrich, because why not at this point? But just when it seemed like that is getting him nowhere, Gindrake, like the idiot he is, sprays that dumb spray in his mouth and gets chased by all the animals out of the sanctuary, and then the film just kind of ends. Max saves the day, Gindrake is fired, thank God, and the film just ends with Max running away from the ice cream man. So yes, finally, that was Max Keeble's big move. It is cliche as all hell, formulaic like a son of a gun, and it's just a straight by the numbers type of movie. There is nothing too unique about it, it just feels like a bunch of movies and TV shows from the era. And yet, I didn't hate it. Now look, it's not a good movie from a writing standpoint, it just isn't. But what this film does right is the visual gags and humor to a degree. It made the movie kind of fun, and I actually ended up enjoying my rewatch for it for that exact reason. It gave me the ability to look past the poor writing and just enjoy what I was seeing. I also think nostalgia helped with that too, as the early 2000s was my childhood, and I grew up with TV shows and movies like this one. Hell, this film reminds me of a lot of Disney Channel shows from that time, and whether that is a good thing or not is up to interpretation. So yeah, I liked the film, but I didn't love it. And unfortunately, I do feel the writing is what made this film kind of forgettable. As I have said previously, there was tons of content like this at the time, and if you have nothing to stand out from the rest, you're likely to fade into obscurity. Hell, when this movie came out, it wasn't even popular. It failed to make its money back in the box office. If the film had more elements to make it stand out, it would be a very more well-loved movie, but because it's so by the numbers, it faded away faster than it could appear, and that is why you forgot Max Keeble's big move. So thanks for watching, guys, and if you're new here, hit that subscribe button and ring that bell. Also, comment down below and like this video, as the more engagement my videos get, the better. Also, if you would like to be like our super patron Ryan Smith, then hit the link in the description and check out my Patreon. There's a few dollars or more will get you special perks like early viewings of my videos and shoutouts in all my videos as well. Anyways, guys, I gotta go make more videos. We'll see you soon. Take care.